This is episode 9 of the Razor Sharp Show.
Are you prepared to grow your business today? Stay tuned for what's about to occur. This is the Razor Sharp Show with your host, Ray Milladani. Stay tuned as Ray invites business owners and entrepreneurs onto the show from all over the world to discuss how they are owning this economy and how you can as well. Are you ready to sharpen your saw? Here's your host, Ray Milladani.
Good day, Razor Sharp community, and welcome to another episode of the Razor Sharp Show. I am your host, Ray Milladani, and what an absolute pleasure it is to have you with us again today. From wherever you are in the world, I really thank you for tuning in and listening. In today's show, we meet Simon Kelly from Renegade Empire. The team at Renegade Empire helps small businesses, startups, and e-commerce owners improve their online systems to help grow their business. This ranges from branding and design to web development and process implementation. They love all things system, technology, and good design that have worked for many clients across the world, including some Silicon Valley startups. Today with Simon, we basically cover off everything got to do with miracle mornings and how Simon gets himself fired up and ready for a big day. All things got to do with website and how to implement a funnel that works. And we also chat about pivoting and what it means to pivot in a business. And also, I like this, but we also talk about how to not let perfection get in the way. So basically, how to take imperfection action and not just sit still waiting for things to be perfect. So I'm very excited for you to meet today's guest, Simon Kelly. So Razor community, are you ready to sharpen your saw? All right, let's do it and meet Simon Kelly. Hi Simon, and welcome to the Razor Sharp Show. How you been?
Yeah, good, Ray. How's yourself?
Yeah, very good, man. Very good. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Excellent. Razor community, are you ready to sharpen your mind? All right, Simon, let's do this. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right. Well, I've come from a web development and IT background, as well as design, actually. So I was building websites about 7 years ago. I actually studied criminology first, and then I moved into doing websites and design just on the side because I just enjoyed it instead of working on assignments. So I was doing that on the side and really enjoyed that. I got a job at an engineering company doing IT and managing their websites. And then one reason that I had this realization that I wanted to start a business, and I negotiated a day off and a pay rise with my boss.
Wow.
And at that point I was thinking, yeah, I definitely want to do this. And that only lasted for a couple of months because I broke my ankle. But I had a little bit of traction with my business at that point. So I had a couple of clients. So I was able to work with my cast up on my desk from then on. So I haven't, that was 7 years ago when I first started Renegade Empire. And been moving along, pivoting and changing for the past 7 years. We actually first started, it was myself as the web designer and developer. We had a graphic designer, a photographer, graffiti artist, and videographer, and we were doing jobs for Brisbane Council at that time, and we work in this place called The Fort in Brisbane, which is like a big arts community. So we started with that, and then we kind of all split off and did our own separate thing, and I was lucky enough to keep the name, which was awesome.
Yeah, wow.
And so at the moment, what we focus on as Renegade Empire is we help small businesses and startups build their online presence, improve their own systems and workflow for marketing. So with marketing automation, lead capture, marketing funnels, awesome. And improve their overall brand.
Yeah, love that. That's all the fun stuff where marketing's heading to. So dive deeper into that. I love how you shared that where, and Razor community, listen to this as well, as thinking a little bit outside the square. It's you went down to less days a week and got a pay rise. Like, how much better is that from an entrepreneur mindset, where you don't have to scale back or do less or quit your job altogether. You can talk with your boss and get less hours and more pay, which is a great win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just about being able to show the value. And
Yeah.
I went to, that was one of the first times I'd really had to do that.
Yeah.
So I really, really wanted it. I really wanted to have that day off to be able to start something on the side. And I really kind of pitched that to my employer as that was going to help them, because I'm going to be doing a lot of extra work that's going to benefit them in the long run off their clock. And they're like, yeah. But then I don't know how I didn't really pitch the pay rise very well. I just said, oh, and by the way, this as well.
Awesome. Good stuff. And it always stays as your story, so that's fantastic. And so where did the name come from, Renegade Empire?
I'm really passionate about people building their empire, essentially, and being renegade. So like going against the grain, going against the norm of just doing what everyone else is doing. And so, yeah, I'm really passionate about that name. It was two of the most epic words I could think of at the time as well, but it doesn't mean something. It is about building your own empire and being a renegade. So doing something different, doing something that you want, building that empire. And just whenever I think of that name, it gets me really motivated.
Yeah, you can tell. That's awesome. Yeah. Fantastic. It's always good to know when there's more meaning to a name. A lot of people these days say that the name doesn't matter because you can, it's all about the marketing, which is true. But I think when there's a why and a story behind it like that, it just adds a lot more value, and that passion shines through. Even just the way you were talking, you look different if you're watching via video, and you sounded different via audio. So that's fantastic. So you obviously got a busy schedule and all that. What's something that you've crossed off your list this morning?
Putting on the whiteboard, actually, putting together just a really brief marketing funnel to explain to a client who just couldn't really explain that very well over the phone. I was getting really animated with my hands, and I'll come back to you with a drawing, and you'll understand.
Because visions always outdo words. So. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, something off a literal list was to do a prototype for a client to get the e-commerce prototype approved. Yeah, so cool. That was the last literal thing I've ticked off.
Excellent. And when did you know that you were wired to be in business? Obviously, you took this day off, and but was there something that you knew deeper down that you wanted to be in business? Where did that all start from?
I think it was at that point I really. Being able to actually get that result where I got the day off and the pay rise was like that feeling that I got from that achievement was just like, I want some more of that kind of feeling. Like that sounds fantastic. But before that, I definitely wanted to start something, start my own thing. And I did know that I wanted to do it online as well. Yeah. There's just something about being able to teach yourself everything and to be able to share so much to other people. I really thought that was something that was going to be like untapped in my life, and I really wanted to get onto that quickly. So business wise, my inspiration for that is to be able to inspire other people. Essentially, that's like one of the main things I love about business is to be able to give people opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise, and improve the human experience for everyone. That's what I think is amazing about businesses, because they all have to solve a problem, essentially, or solve the same problem a little bit better. So really, we all benefit from business. Yep. So that's something that really excites me as well. Yeah,
love that. I always say that, technically all our titles are just problem solvers. It depends what problem you're solving. Even a chef, they solve the problem of hunger and nice food and things like that. So solving problems is definitely something that gives me even a good challenge, and I think it's a very strong trait of entrepreneurs is they love that challenge of solving problems. And I guess, with what you do on the web, you get people's ideas and make them come to life. So, yeah, fantastic. So what's a book that you've listened to or audio that you've listened to that has changed your life? Like, is there a book that really, was a pivot, pivot in your life?
Yeah. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Have you read that one?
No, not yet. We have spoken about it in the past, I think. But.
Yeah. I didn't actually physically read it. It's just all audible, as I know you can attest to things like that. So that was absolutely just amazing for me. Like there's been quite a few. The One Thing by Gary Keller has been amazing too. But The Miracle Morning for me was just that was just absolutely inspirational and game changing. Awesome. In a lot of ways, like the motivational side, like the personal motivation, that was really inspiring. Inspiration for what Hal went through and to achieve what he achieved. But things outside of business as well, and just outside of personal achievement. But like there was a big focus on like family and your own network and being able to what you can give to others and being an inspiration, and that you, in order to inspire people and help people, you need to achieve those things first, and then you're paying it forward, essentially, to be able to achieve something and then being able to bring other people up. Like that's amazing. That's really like shifted what I think about on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, cool.
Instead of being able to help people grow their business or whatever, it's like, well, I should focus on achieving a particular goal for myself, and then take a step back and help people achieve up to that level as well. And then like keep stepping, but bringing people up at the same time.
Yeah.
So step forward, bring other people up, step forward, bring other people up. And that just, I don't know, it feels a lot more worthwhile doing it that way. So
yeah, absolutely. And then it becomes a little bit more about the journey and not just the end goal. It's about the progression to somewhere. So just share with the Razor community, like, what is your morning routine like these days?
I've actually just got onto this, like an app, always some app. It was the Miracle Morning for quite some time, but I wanted some tracking, and it was just getting a bit too much. Like when I was looking at my goals, they just kept growing and growing and growing. Like every day I'm looking at my goals and I'm just writing more and more, which is great. But I needed to have it on like a fixed piece of paper. So there's this app actually that I'm using at the moment called Fabulous. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it's a similar thing, but it goes through an app form of like, start your morning at this point. So get up, have some water, get hydrated, do about 12 minutes of meditation, and I use Brain FM for meditation. Just some kind of noise. If there's any other noise happening, it just distracts me a bit too much, which is kind of the meditation should help with that. But just having some kind of ambient noise really helps.
Yep.
So do about 12 minutes of that. Have Good Mix for breakfast, which is like one of my clients' superfoods. So it's like a blend of like 11 different seeds. It's amazing.
Wow.
And have that with yogurt. Do either the 7 minutes workout or just my own little workout that I do. A bit of stretching, and then visualize my goals. That's one of the super important things. So I have some of the goals like short, medium, long term within Trello, and then personal is actually separate as well. So short, medium, long term in Trello, and then what my current focus is. So I have like about 10 things that help to motivate me. So what I really want to do is just to really start the morning feeling really empowered. Yep. So even if I've had 4 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep or something like that, if I get up, there's first 15 minutes of just squinting, but then really start reading about the things that I wrote when I was feeling totally fine, get inspired, and then exercise to get motivated, get some fuel inside of me with Good Mix, and that just helps to really start at a really high level at the beginning of the day.
Love that. And how long have you been doing this for, and have you noticed some big changes in your life?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed big changes. I've always done a really kind of short routine, but it usually started with work. Like I'll get up and I'll want to learn something straight away. That's I love learning when there's nothing really else on my mind.
Yep.
So if I'm moving towards learning, let's say I was learning to code PHP. I remember doing that for many, 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 many hours. But that was one of the first things I'll do, 6 o'clock, 2 hours of learning PHP before I do any client work. So I don't do that now. It could be learning some different system, learning something to do with marketing funnels, listening to Gary Vee for half an hour to get it inspired and excited. So I've always done something like that at the beginning, but now doing a bit more of a rounded view that's like personal health, so the exercise, mindset. So doing that is I've found that to have much more benefits than just getting straight into work. Right? Like, because you can work all the time, and I'll work late, and I'll work over lunch, and I'll work for sure. But it's the other things that I find that are slipping, but they help for me to do better work. So doing them first thing, just life maintenance basically at the beginning. And I've noticed a lot more energy since I've been doing that. And I've been doing an hour of this kind of Miracle Morning every day, I think since January this year. Like pretty dedicated. 4 or 5 days per week on average, because there's been some missed weeks, I will admit.
Yeah, cool. But it's about the long game. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You're always thinking about it. And if you don't, I've found that if I don't actually do that hour or even half an hour, just a few of the key parts, if I don't do that, I'll just be thinking about it all day.
Yeah.
You can do it at any time of day, though. If you do it at lunchtime, you do it at dinner time, as long as you do it and take some time to reflect, it's going to have a positive impact.
Yeah, cool. And I love how also you share that, it's 7 minutes of this, 12 minutes of that, a good breakfast. It's nothing that's like a massive long routine where it's going to take, a big chunk out of your morning. Like most entrepreneurs should be able to fit this in, between their journey from, if they're still working full time in there and doing their side hustle, or whether they're starting up a business, you can very easily sneak this in.
Absolutely, yeah. You can do the miracle morning in 6 minutes, apparently. Wow. 1 minute for each thing. And it's just about consistency, really. That's all it's about. And taking one habit and building that. So keeping that one consistent and then building onto it. Don't try and do an hour of all these different tasks. Just start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes of one thing. So if you've got your side hustle, before you get started on your side hustle, review your goals of that side hustle, whatever that may be. Long, medium, short. Review those first. Get into a good mindset, and then pick that one thing that's going to move it forward, set a timer for 25 minutes, and go for it. Yep. If you do that consistently each time, you're going to get so much more done. You're going to feel better about starting, because I think that for some of the side hustles that I have, it's the starting. It's like, oh my God, the end is so far away. How am I going to even get started now? Yep. But just doing that first part, that half an hour, first part each time, it's just clarity, and you start to look forward to it, as opposed to like this, this monster that I've taken on is too big. I can't, eat this elephant all at once. It's like, one small bite at a time.
Cool. Excellent. I love that. And I guess, this is a time where you're sharing over, really good things and setting yourself up for success and getting the momentum going for the day. But has there been times where you felt defeated, and what did you do to bounce back up, and how did you get through that?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely defeats. They're all part of it, though. Like you'd have to expect them. You can't, it's not all smooth sailing all the time. So, preparing for the defeat, I think, is one of the best things you can do. Learn before it happens. So some defeats within the last 12 months, actually. We've lost one of our major clients, who actually was the top level to 3 of our major clients. So that went straight down, and one of them had quite a significant account open with us, and that particular client was now no longer working with that account. So getting the money back, and the account was now in the hands of someone completely different, basically. Right. So that was just a huge blow, completely unexpected. I just got back from a 2-month holiday in Europe as well. Hopefully that had nothing to do with it, but no. The team were taking care of them. It was just one of those things, unfortunately. And then not long after that, I actually split up with my partner. So there was a lot happening, and it was very hard to stay motivated. And to tell you the truth, this morning routine was grounding. This was the daily grounding to just keep things consistent. And it's when I actually really started to go even harder on this daily routine, because of the benefits that I could see. It was giving me clarity. It was helping me not feel so overwhelmed about all the things that are going wrong, and start thinking, one of the things that I think of is about my family and the people that I really deeply care about. And are they sick? Are they in hospital? Are they in tremendous pain? Has any of this caused them to almost die? No. Okay? Relax, calm down. You can get through this. Plenty of people, even at the point of failure with, bankruptcy, it's like if you got to that point, it's still not the end of the world. Entire families don't die because someone goes bankrupt. You go bankrupt and then you keep moving. Actually, one of my good friends went bankrupt, and we talk every couple of weeks, and he's pretty much my financial advisor, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but he's amazing. It's just, it's just one of those things. There's situations you can't avoid, and he's starting up something new pretty shortly. He's gone back to uni to finish something and starting something on the side. But cool. One of the things to bounce back basically is to what I did anyway was to really contract, get really, really angry to just get that out of my system, first of all. How can I let this happen? Just deal with it quick. And pretty much cut the fat. So, take as many things out that are unnecessary, because very clear what things you're doing unnecessarily when you become a bit desperate. So get rid of all of those things. Emails, like block that stuff off as much as you possibly can. Set aside chunks of your time on like to keep things moving forward, but also to repair mode, to fix things. So really time block, because otherwise you're just going to think about it constantly. So really time block when you have to move things forward and when you're in repair mode. So putting out the fire that has been created.
Yeah.
So start with that, contract, and then expand. So expand your network, be honest to your friends, be honest to your family, be honest to your coworkers, whoever it needs to be honest to your clients, and be open and be human. Because, that's at the end of the day, that's what you are. You have to admit things, and you're not going to be right all the time, and you will be appreciated so much more if you just basically say exactly what happened.
Yeah, cool.
You don't have to give away all of the details, of course, but you say that things are difficult, and you have their best. You're thinking of them. You've got their best interests at heart, and you'd appreciate understanding. Basically,
yeah, and I think that comes with their authenticity. I think these days more and more people want to see that. Like you said, we're all humans, and people want to see that you go through the same feelings and emotions as themselves.
Yeah.
So being authentic with your team and the people around you is very important. And I think that's a great tip for the Razor community to take away and say, whatever you're doing in business, be authentic with the way you're doing it, why you're doing it. If times are great, if times are not so great, be really transparent and authentic with your community around you, and they, in most cases, will help you through that, as opposed to using that as a way of isolating yourself and making things worse. So that's great.
Yeah.
And so let's. I just want to talk a little bit more about your knowledge and what you do, because in the last few minutes you've spoken about your business and automation and funnels and things like that. How important do you feel that funnels are in the success of a website and business? Like, is it just important to have a website up, but do you need to think about the way that the funnel works, and what are some of your key tips and tricks in regards to that?
Yeah. So I think it's absolutely essential. It's just like a website. Essentially, if you just think about it, it's just like a brick and mortar shop. Like, you don't just have the shop window and some products and no people and no interaction and nothing. That would just be if we're just talking e-commerce.
Cool.
Something, yeah.
Yep.
So it would just be like having a shop with your products, and people can just walk up and they just can buy. And there's no interaction, there's no nothing, there's no sales notices, there's just nothing happening.
Yep.
But what really happens is someone is attracted to this shop somehow by the signage, by a particular sale, by something that got them to the physical shop. When they walk into the shop, you've laid out the products in a particular way. You've got signage, you've got your floor staff who are there greeting customers as they come in with particular scripts or being friendly, essentially. So, and they'll ask them something about, what's their background? What are they looking for today? Oh, nothing in particular. That's fine. Let me know if you need anything. So being able to kind of replicate that process online, it just makes perfect sense.
It does actually.
Yeah. So when in real life, when they do engage with that shopkeeper, with the floor staff, and so they engage with the product. So they touch a particular product, and you do that on the website by clicking on a particular product. Here's some other products that you might like Amazon do a fantastic job of that.
Yeah.
So customers also purchased. I think that's their little spot there. So that's what the floor staff would say to you, like, oh, this would look really fantastic with these. If you like this, you'll love this. Like that, when it comes to marketing funnels, like that is just the key thing to remember. If you like this, you'll love this. If you like this blog post, you'll love the next step in the customer journey, right? Which could be some useful thing that you get in return for your email address. And then they're giving permission marketing and permission sales, essentially, saying, I do like that. I like that enough to let you contact me about it.
Yeah, cool.
You want to give them that opportunity instead of just, here it is, you can buy it or not. Like, that's it. Like, it's the process, right?
Yeah, and I like how you've brought it back to the traditional retail store. I think a lot of times people start an online shop and they think it needs to operate differently. But, I think sometimes it's back to basics. Like when you walk into a shop and you pick up a bit of clothing, someone approaches you and says, these jeans will go really nice with that shirt. So what's wrong with doing that in an online space? I think a lot of times when people start up a website, they think that these things are annoying. But we've probably all ourselves interacted with these tools and been grateful to have these suggestions and, and the email that comes up to remind you that you may have added something to a shopping cart but didn't actually check out. And, I think all these things actually happen in a real life store. And, treating that online is a really good little tip, is not to forget the back to basics on how people actually shop. And even like the little live operators that pop up on the side, that is kind of like having staff in your retail shop but having staff monitoring your online shop.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's only annoying if you're not buying. If you're going there because you're just researching and all these things are trying to get you to buy something, of course that's going to be annoying. Like, if you're trying to reverse engineer their sales process, then you're like, get out of my way, like these things keep popping up. But if you're actually there to buy and something that's contextual comes up and you get a discount offer comes up, you're going to jump straight on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like the example we were talking about just before we jumped on the recording with AppSumo, it's like I look forward to and I fear every email I get from them because I'm going to buy whatever they send through. Their emails are so fantastic. The way that they describe value is just amazing. I subscribe to them because at the beginning I thought, I'll reverse engineer their sales letters. No, I will buy. Like, I'm going to read that and I'm going to click buy at the bottom. They're just amazing. And like a question that I get asked from clients this is to do with the funnel. I'm not just totally changing topic here. Is like, how many emails are too many to send? And a good friend of mine, Mike Killen, he was saying to me that if you got $1 from every email that you opened, how many would be too many? You would just keep opening them. So it's getting into that mindset of value. And if you are honestly giving value in that email and your customers want to open that email, then they're going to. Yep. Like you are giving that value basically. Like, I know AppSumo is going to cost me money. I'm going to open that email because I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be useful and that's it.
Yeah, I love how you're looking forward to it and you're fearing it at the same time. So that's the great mix of emotions. But I definitely agree. And I think, that's the thing that people don't realize. And for the Razor community listening is that if you're producing great value and you create like a tribe or some group of people who are raving fans, like they will look forward to your email. And I think Kogan does this really well. Like Kogan has like almost 3 emails a day that go out. But the people that are subscribed to that level of frequency, they love the bargains and the deals and they look forward to that email. So with that question is how much is too much? Well, you got to have a system that matches where your ideal client is sitting. Maybe 3 times a day is too much, but maybe for sometimes it's just perfect.
Yeah, and think conversationally, I think, is important as well. If we're having a conversation together now, and if I just kept saying to you, buy this, and you just be like, come on, like I just came here to chat. Like, can you leave it alone for a bit? So have that conversation and give some value and ask some questions and interact. You can set those kinds of things up in automation. Yep. You can give your FAQs. You can say, here's something, because you looked at this particular blog post or bought this particular product, here's something that we've found that our customers love because of this product. Here's a tutorial on how to use it. We put this together just for you. It's fantastic. We'd love to know your feedback. Get that engagement going, and you want to train them to open your emails. It's just like talking to a friend. You're essentially training them to listen to you. You don't just yell sales pitches at them all the time. Like, if you want them to buy something, you're going to have to build that trust in person. So just think about marketing automation as reaching a wider audience in that conversational style.
Cool. Love that. And what about for some of the community who may not have a website yet? What's your take on having a website? Like, is a social Facebook page enough these days? Or what's your opinion on that? Some people say you don't need websites, you can just build a business off Facebook. What's your opinion on that?
I think go where you can spend your energy. Like, if you can spend your energy with it by creating a website and have lead capture on that website, definitely do that. But if if your energy is better spent building an audience on Facebook, growing that audience initially, and you can just paste in a link to a MailChimp sign-up form or something like that, and you're going to get a good level of sign-ups, then focus your energy on that. So don't waste your focus with like trying to like tweak this website that people aren't probably going to see because you don't even have an audience just yet. It's super easy to create websites now, so just get a minimum viable website, basically. Get that done. Get your lead capture available on that website. So if people want to find out a bit of info about you, they can just sign up to learn more.
Yeah.
And start with that. Because what you need to do is grow that audience. You need to find out if you haven't already, you need to find out if the market's going to respond to the way that you're speaking to them, to your product, to your marketing strategy. So it is about building that, as you mentioned before, building that tribe.
Cool. Excellent. Love that. And I think, do you follow much of the lean startup principles? Because I know you've mentioned minimum viable website and things like that. That comes a little bit from the lean startup principles. Is that something that you follow a lot?
That's like, I follow parts of that, and I recommend to my clients because a lot of them are startups. So I'm past startup stage, but I still I like hanging out with startups, and I like talking to startups. I like the energy, and I want to stay in startup mode. I feel like I'm always in startup mode because I'm shifting all the time with what I'm doing. Like, the core focus is the same as what I was saying before with what I want to do overall. But the way it's delivered feels like it's always in startup mode.
Yeah, cool.
Like, whatever new comes out, it's always like shifting to that, taking that on, and like really, will my audience respond to that? Can we leverage that? How can we use this? Really in that startup mode,
I love that. Treat everything like it's startup. I think that's a great tip, Razor community, is that, if you even got a business that you've been running for several years and you're scaling and you're launching a new project, treat that project almost like a mini startup within your business. Within your business, and start off lean and apply those startup principles, and you'll find that project will probably excel itself faster. I know with a lot of the business mentoring that I've been around, there's one guy I follow, and he's constantly saying, every day is like a startup day. I pretend this is the first day that I'm working on my business, because that keeps him excited as if it was just a brand new idea every morning. And I kind of like that. And you're saying things very similar, that you kind of, even though your business is growing and it's stable, but you kind of treat it like a startup as you pivot into new things and so forth. Now, you've mentioned pivoting quite a lot. What does pivot mean to you, and share that with the Razor community, and how have you pivoted in your business?
Well, at the very beginning, I started mostly with development and design and just building websites, essentially. Like, we were building custom features for certain websites, like integrating WHMCS for some web hosting clients in Australia. So that they were moving into broadband space, and we were doing custom development with that. And like that, as my problem-solving mind, I thought I was really excited by that. Like, I loved working on these new things, and like I was really focusing on doing custom dev for WHMCS, making modules for that. That was really exciting for me, and that's so far away from what I'm doing now. So it's the problem-solving that gets me really excited, and still taking on some of those kinds of projects, but looking at the overall business. So it's really moved from being someone that implements, and being a team that implements a particular feature to achieve a business goal, as partnering with our clients and looking at the goals together, creating those goals together, and then finding the right team to work on those. Sometimes it's not us for certain things, because we might not be big enough for some clients, but we sit next to our clients and work out those goals and what they are. 3-month plan, 6-month plan, where are we actually headed, what kind of roadblocks do we have at the moment, how do our processes look for doing marketing, how can we improve that, how can we leverage technology better, and then so when it comes down to like custom features for websites, we do get down to that, but that's only if it does match the goals. So we're really partnering a lot more with our clients, and being able to recommend different service providers for SEO. Like we actually did SEO quite a while ago, but we don't really focus on that anymore as part of our offering, just because we think it takes too long. It's definitely valuable, and we definitely still recommend it, but there's plenty of other shops that are much better at SEO than we are, and we recommend going with them. So more of a business and marketing advisor role. Yeah,
cool. And what I love about pivoting in business as well is you don't have to throw out what you've created. You get to really recycle and keep the best parts. And a lot of the big websites that we all know now, like even YouTube, it was never intended to be the YouTube that we know it today. They got to a certain point where they were just more of a video hosting website, and then they pivoted to where they are now. I think the same story happens with Twitter and a lot of the other big names. Is a lot of the websites that we know today didn't actually start off. Even Facebook, it was meant to be a community for university students to stay connected with just one campus, and then it went to a couple of campuses, and then it just took off and went globally, and it was just how everyone stayed together. And now it's a massive media and marketing platform with adverts and everything. So, you got to really look at your business and go, what can I keep from this, and move it to where the market needs it to be, and treat that as a pivot. So you keep one foot on the floor and move into a different direction, but bring some of the stuff that you've created with you. All too often, I feel like entrepreneurs kind of get stuck, and they, and I've been guilty of doing this as well, where you just throw the whole idea out the window and you go off onto another shiny object, or a squirrel syndrome, and you lose everything that you've created, which is value, and it's valuable to bring with you. Yeah,
exactly. Cool. Something else we were talking about before the recording as well was about like setting your unique value proposition, and identifying your ideal customers, ideal clients, whatever they may be, and the focus that's really put on that at the moment, I think, holds a lot of people back. I think that you're never going to be 100% sure of exactly who that is. It should be an evolving process. But what you need to do is go hard on building that audience and getting to the customers that you know now. So not the ones that you think you need to make, and I've got to write this down, it's got to be perfect, I've got to mold this, and then I'll take action. No, take action and build that avatar, build that persona, whatever it may be, as you're taking action, so that it's not like one and then the other. It's action, action, action. Build that audience. See what's test. Like, is it this kind of customer? Is it that kind of customer? Use Facebook adverts. Look into your social insights to see who's interacting, and then build it as you go. Especially in the startup, like in the idea stage. I mean, like when you're really bringing this to market and you're just testing if it's going to work. I don't think it's really that possible to identify so early on exactly who that is. So just don't really waste your time with it. Just take action first.
Always be moving forward is what I'm getting there. And I love that, because there's something else that's kind of been ringing true with me is don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Always keep moving forward, and as long as you're moving the needle forward in the right direction, and even if it comes back every now and then. And I think, there's a lot of people who will be listening to this show where they're sitting on an idea, or they're waiting for everything to get perfect. And you'll never launch if you kind of just sit there and do that. So love that bit of advice to just keep moving forward. And the ideal client that you think it is today will be very different to in 2 years' time. So what was the point of sitting there getting that persona or that avatar perfect, when in 2 years' time you might even be serving a completely different avatar, and unless you got out there and done something, you wouldn't even know that it needed to change. So,
yeah, exactly. Take imperfect action.
Yes, cool. Love that. Are you ready for the razor round?
Sure.
Excellent. Let's do some quick, sharp answers here, mate.
All right.
Cool. So, who's someone who's been a mentor for you?
Just one?
Okay, go for a few.
We'll say Ben Madden from Matter Solutions in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Troy Dean, for sure, from WP Elevation, and is a very active mentor, part of his WP Elevation group.
Yep.
Dave Jennings from Melbourne SEO. Jennings, I think is how you say his last name.
Yep.
And not that I've had a lot of contact with him, but just I really love the way that he's process obsessed and how he runs his businesses. And Bruce Lee as well,
cool,
I reckon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I love how you said that you didn't have a lot of contact with him. I think entrepreneurs and Razor community, your mentors don't have to be someone you physically meet with. They could be just someone that you're inspired with, like, Gary Vee. I've never really met him, but I like his content. I like what he says. I like how he motivates. I don't agree with everything he says, but, it's definitely great to be around people, and you can use people that you've never met to be your mentors. So don't feel like you have to be in the same room doing one-on-one coaching sessions to be mentored by them. And the fact that they're releasing videos as free content, that's them wanting to share their knowledge with the world. So if you can learn from that, then that's exactly what they're trying to do. So
yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And so what's something that you know now that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
That you won't have to learn to develop websites to make websites.
Damn.
Should have seen that one coming.
Drag and drop editors, eh?
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I built a very lightweight content management system over many, many months before I discovered content management systems that were open source, that exist, that were fantastic.
Wow.
So,
Oh, well,
it happens. That's all learning, right? Yeah.
lessons of life, the University of Life.
Yeah, exactly.
How many business ventures have you honestly been on?
2. So Renegade Empire, and then like ones that I would call businesses.
Yeah.
2. And then a clothing label that's going to be relaunched pretty soon.
Cool.
And I'm like, not business-wise, I'm part of a not-for-profit called Rolling Victoria, and we put on not-for-profit rollerblading events around Australia. So I'm, I guess, part director in that.
Yeah, nice, excellent. And what's something that you wish you could change in the world right now?
So something, giving opportunity to people that don't have opportunity. And that comes back to like the whole Renegade Empire thing. So, especially like disadvantaged like teenagers, youths. Essentially, I did a bit of not-for-profit, bit of volunteer work for ADORS with adolescent drug and alcohol withdrawal system in Brisbane, and so lots of smart people, but just without the opportunities that we've got to be able to build our own lives and have our like little stresses that we've got all the time. They don't even have those opportunities. So it's really grounding to do that, but giving more opportunity would be...
excellent. Love that. Definitely something that I'm getting more involved in, giving back. And one of the things I support is Kiva, because I love the fact that it's supporting other entrepreneurs around the world and giving micro loans and lending and so forth. So that's a bit of crowdsourcing, and it's a few different business models that come together, and it's all about that impact and changing many people's lives.
Yeah.
And so what's a website that you need to visit daily to survive?
Like literally would be Google Apps, everything. I like literally need to look at those. Yeah, but something that I just think about all the time and I have to hold back from visiting it is Product Hunt.
Okay.
I don't know if you get on that one. Like try and avoid it. It's amazing. Like it's so good. It's just new daily upvoted products, like new startups, new apps.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Could be good for the creative mind of thinking about new, ideas and things like that. But don't get distracted is probably the tip from the Razor community.
It's a shiny object playground. So
gosh,
beware.
I will stay off it. Thanks for mentioning it, but I will stay off it. So what's one of the best bit of advices that you've received?
I think take imperfect action would be one of the best ones, and you owe it to your customers to be profitable.
Yes, absolutely. That's such a great tip. Razor community, really take note of that. It's not fair if you've started a business and you are not profitable to your clients, then how can you continue to offer that to everyone else and grow and be the gift to the universe that you were set out to do to follow your passion? So, definitely love that. Be profitable because that you owe it to your clients and the clients that you haven't even met yet, which is really fantastic. Love that. Thanks, Simon. What's the worst bit of advice that you've been given?
Probably just advice I've given myself. I don't listen to a lot of bad advice enough to remember that other people have given me bad stuff. So there's not enough room in my sponge brain to be able to hold on to that. But probably just things I say to myself that I have to meditate to get it out of my head, to just get inspired again.
Yeah, cool. Love that. It's you don't have enough room in your mind to think about all that. I love that. That's such a great little skill that you can have. And I've often gone on the record saying that I often don't remember people's name, like actors' names and things like that, and I just say, well, why do I need to know their name? They have no impact in my life. They don't need to know who's won last year's Gold Logie and things like that. So I definitely put in your mind, be protective of what goes in your mind and what you retain and what you choose to forget. Because really, at the end of the day, you can Google everything you need to know. What I call just-in-time learning. When you need to know something, you can just Google it and know it. You don't have to retain it in your memory for your life anyway. So what's something that you've learned in the last 7 days? Something new, fresh, hot off the press.
Yeah, last 7 days. Let me just have a look and see if I have anything interesting about this.
Well, while we do that, what's your favourite productivity hack?
I think it would be lots of things.
Yeah, you've mentioned
like
a few
time
tools.
blocking. Yeah, well, like it's kind of systems more so than tools. So,
yeah, cool.
Like time blocking is amazing. Like
Yep.
you having specific times for specific tasks. Like that is absolutely incredible. You need a spot for even thinking about a particular project. Otherwise, it's the FOMO, the fear of missing out. I have to do it now, otherwise it's not going to get done. You need a spot for that to be done. So it could, sales calls, it could be anything, talking with your team offshore, talking with your team in Australia. So it needs to be segmented, and it needs to be in its specific place. And you will never get that right. You will obsess over when that's going to be, but just make a plan, set it, and stay consistent, and you will enjoy the happiness that brings to you. Also, a goal pyramid. So you have like your top level task there, and then you split that off into the 2 next goals that you need to be able to achieve that top level, and then it filters down from there. So then that basically eventually gets you to the next action that you need to take to be able to reach to that point, and having that on display regularly very much helps. And if in terms of apps that we've got, so my process for getting things done quickly is turning off phone and notifications, setting a block of 2 hours to get something done, and then setting that 25-minute timer that I was saying before to get one thing done. What's the next single one thing done? Write that down, and get that done in 2 minutes usually, but that's just the momentum that you need to start moving. What's the next thing? But I know I've got 2 hours to work on that, so I've got enough buffer after that 25 minutes to really make some serious momentum to get something done and really get some serious progress on that. I use Egg Timer for not a literal egg timer, like Egg Timer, the website, because it's got Pomodoro. You can set any particular type of minute, so I usually have it at 25 or 50 minutes. I use that. I use Hey Focus, and I use Momentum Dashboard for Chrome for just like a gorgeous screenshot. It just like is amazing every time you open a new tab. It's just nice daily screenshot to look at. I use the Facebook newsfeed Eradicator, which gives you a motivational quote instead of the Facebook newsfeed.
Wow.
Which is awesome.
Cool, I like that.
So you if you're doing something, and like I need to get to Facebook for business things, but I'll get to Facebook and the timeline of everything, of friends, business, everything's all in one place. But instead, motivational quote from Mark Twain or Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs or something like that, to be able to realize that you need to master your time, essentially. It'll make you feel guilty and motivated at the same time.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, that's definitely a great stack of apps. And, Razor Community, you can head over to the website where we make note of all the apps and tools and productivity hacks that our guests share. So there's a running list there. Check that out. But let's go back to the questions. That's something that you've learned in the last 7 days.
Yeah, so an important one is definitely family and friends first.
Cool.
So it's not exactly like a productivity hack, but just get so focused on business and so focused on like moving forward in success and all that you forget to really ground yourself. And what would your life be like if you lost one of them? Like, what would the reality be if that happened? And that's just like such a shock that you need to have regularly, I think, to give you some perspective and focus, so that you don't lose sight of the purpose that you have here is basically. But in terms of tools and interesting things like that, I've just started playing with Cyphe dashboard, Cyphe, and it just, oh man, so good. So I'm setting that up for pretty much each one of my clients. I've got one for Renegade Empire for just some of the key metrics that we want to look at in our business. So opening that every day at the beginning, after my massive miracle morning. So having a look at those, some of the key metrics, it's easy to create reports, so the team doesn't have to create reports, basically. It's there in a live dashboard, and all we really need to do is go in and discuss it. So we can look at that at any time and be ready, not have to wait for a PDF or anything. It's right there, good to go. That's been amazing. And so I'm tweaking.
I think that's really important, is that these days there are so many tools that can plug so many other tools together. And a great tip there is, instead of going into 5 or 6 different websites to check stats, use a tool that brings 5 or 6 stats into one dashboard, so you can log into one system, see what you need to do. So you bring a task that would take 30 minutes into a 5-minute task, and then you can use that other 25 minutes to actually get the key learnings and put an action plan and put a plan to move forward. So I love that, because I've used Cyphe in the past as well, and I do love the fact that it's got hundreds of tools that you can plug into it and feed the data through into it. So I love that. I probably haven't used it enough to in my life. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, no worries. One other offline thing is bullet journal. Have you heard of that journaling method?
No.
So I still use pen and paper, pretty old school, but I'm just writing to-dos, events, notes. I stumbled across the bullet journal method. I use a really, really lightweight version of that for writing to-dos, events, and notes, just so not everything that you write is a to-do on your notepad. You don't need a heading that says notes. Each bullet point signifies something different, and it's just a really fast way of getting some things down and turning your physical notebook into something that's a bit more useful.
Yeah, cool.
So definitely check that out. Yeah.
Okay, and is that a book or a website or something?
It's a book, but you can the system's freely available online. So if you just Google bullet journal, they've got some bullet journals that I think they're all sold out anyway. So they just describe the system, and you can pretty much turn any journal into a bullet journal. But just there's something, you'll probably find something useful from that process.
Yeah, love that. So how can people get in touch with you and find out more about you?
On Twitter, tweeting is always good.
Cool.
At Simon_L_Kelly, or even at Facebook, sk.renegade. You can get in touch with me there.
Awesome. Great. And your website?
Is renegade-empire.com.
So guys, there's been a lot of great tips and productivity tools and things shared in this podcast. All the notes will be in the show notes, but check out the website. Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. I know the Razor community will thank you for the value that you've dropped in today's episode. So thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Ray.
All right, Razor community, how good was that? I hope you learned something from Simon Kelly. Now it is time to apply what you have learned. Without applying what you've learned, it's like not learning anything at all. But remember, to stay razor sharp, it's really important that you teach others what you've just learned. So really, now is the time to get your hands dirty and really get into some of the juicy facts and some of the productivity hacks that Simon Kelly has shared. But before you do so, I just ask for a small favor. Be sure to head over to the iTunes store and leave us a raving review about the podcast. Until next time, stay sharp.